This is my job. This time we need to transport this set of wind turbine blades to Wuji, the world's infinity. How are these giant fans transported to the mountaintop? This time I'll show you clearly. These wind turbine blades are from Dongfang Electric, a company whose products cover wind power, hydropower, thermal power, nuclear power, and solar energy. And this time the blades to be transported are from the wind power production base, located in Baotou, Inner Mongolia. Starting from Baotou and heading to Shigatse in Tibet, the total transportation distance is 3,800 kilometers. To use the official wording, this time I'm mainly here to observe. When I joined up with the convoy, the 6 blades were already resting in Golmud. This is my contact Han Fei, who is the coordinator for the mission. He introduced me to the drivers from Dongfang Electric's heavy logistics team. For the next 10 days, I'll be living with them. Because we have to cross several uninhabited areas along the way, the team brought a lot of supplies, and I also received my share of emergency equipment. Oxygen tanks are essential for this mission, as the average altitude ahead is 4,500 meters, and the destination is even around 5,500 meters above sea level.
What about the tube?
The door can be opened directly, probably.
Yes, just open it. Once open, you can adjust the flow up or down.
Oh.
And you can also turn it down a bit. Also, if you open this, when you're inside the vehicle, don't close the windows too tightly. If you close them tightly, don't worry. Just don't turn on the ventilation.
Tomorrow is the day of departure. The team needs to reorganize the team and arrange the blades in order, so that it can save a lot of time when merging into the national highway tomorrow. The first blade is in position, followed by the second one. The convoy has finished organizing and is waiting to depart at the scheduled time tomorrow. National Highway 109 is an important transport route into Tibet, with a high proportion of trucks. The lead driver lent the convoy's synchronized walkie-talkie to the law enforcement officers to facilitate timely communication. Traffic control has begun. This time the drivers come from various regions, so I can't really understand the language on the walkie-talkie. Control is completed, and we merge onto National Highway 109. The convoy travels through the vast Gobi desert, heading toward the distant mountains. The mountain roads are the main challenge of this mission. Entering the mountainous area, the convoy pulls over to the side and waits. Ahead are 2 consecutive curves, and the convoy needs to use the opposite lane to get through, so we have to wait for vehicles in the blind spot under control. We continue moving forward and enter the first curve. The second curve is even sharper, and the mountain is very narrow, so we have to pass through at the absolute limit of our clearance. The blade is nearly 100 meters long, with a very large swept radius, so passing through narrow sections requires monitoring from multiple angles. The left side of the belly and the front of the vehicle are both at their maximum turning angle. The tail sweep also needs to be paid close attention to, as it is easy to scrape the mountain when turning. There are countless similar curves along the way, so the daily driving distance is very limited. For every sharp turn the convoy passes, the escorts need to warn oncoming vehicles in advance, which also greatly slows down the progress. Fortunately, the total weight of the blade is not large, and it can slightly increase the speed after entering the straight road.
Convoy, once the vehicle is steady, you can start letting them pass.
After exiting the first mountainous section, we stop to let other vehicles go. The travelers are enjoying their happy time. The drivers bring their own packed lunches, while I choose to look for food in the nearby town. I didn't expect that this mineral water is actually produced and bottled in the Kunlun Mountains. Passing by the Kunlun Mountain Pass, I see a constant stream of friends with all kinds of cameras here. I hope everyone pays attention to safety while taking photos. The trucks going uphill inevitably pick up speed, and it's a hassle for them to stop and start again. After crossing the Kunlun Mountain Pass, we officially enter the permafrost subsidence section of the road, which brings new challenges for blade transportation. Do you have anything to eat?
Yes.
Since the convoy doesn't stop for meals along the way, I bought a big flatbread as well. Although I don't like eating cakes, but when I'm hungry, everything tastes good. Scallion, stir-fried lamb over noodles is my favorite way to eat in the Northwest. The fragrant broth from the stir-fried scallions and lamb poured over hand-pulled noodles paired with fresh garlic, that flavor just hits you right in the head. I feel like I'm really running low on milk. This is a mysterious region, a paradise for wildlife. In the film Kekeksili, Captain Ritai leads the anti-poaching team, risking their lives to win more living space for the Tibetan antelope. Here, he is known as Jesang Sonandajie. We have arrived at today's stop, Wudaoliang, at an altitude of 4,600 meters. Hurry up, the convoy of vehicles can stretch for several hundred meters from front to back, so we can only stop along the road before entering the town. The tail end of the blade is easily overlooked by the vehicles behind. Warning signs must be placed strictly according to regulations, including the outline lights at the end of the blade. The key thing is, you all go first.
Yeah, we're heading out first. After you finish your meal, is it expensive to find a place to stay and rest? Not at all, it's just over 100 yuan.
Alright, we'll head out first. The drivers stay with their vehicles. After having dinner in town, they have to come back here to guard the trucks. In places like this, you can't expect much from the accommodations. Even getting a clean bed to sleep on depends on your luck.
So, can I check if your thing is working or not?
You don't have any of that issue.
I don't know, I haven't tried it before. As soon as the altitude reached 4,000 meters, I opened the oxygen tank in advance. Even so, just moving around occasionally made it hard to breathe. To make sure I have enough oxygen for tomorrow, I decided to go refill the tank. Is this perhaps casual wear?
Just visiting.
If you or your companions experience altitude sickness, you can come to this house. They provide oxygen, and they can even drive an off-road vehicle with oxygen to the door for emergencies. Dinner was settled at the restaurant inside the luxury hotel. Do I really have that many dishes? Sichuan people just go for it. Boiled beef tongue, squid, a bit of garlic, and some vegetables. Yours must be really expensive.
And then you have a computer in your hand. This is Emma, right? Is this green onion? Delete this, delete that.
This is garlic sprout, or it could be garlic scape. Later I figured out from the root that this is a type of garlic sprout that's not common in Sichuan.
The mountain is too long.
There's no narration today, just quietly listen to the guitar music. It's easier to get through the distant parts. Right. On sections where the road has settled, there's a big difference in elevation, so you have to pay close attention to the rear of the vehicle.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Go, move forward, go down, good. Move forward, keep going, you can do it, go. Keep going down, come on, keep going, go.
The convoy has entered the Tibet border, and tonight's stop is far ahead in the Tangala Mountains. Last night's parking spot was at an altitude of 4,700 meters. The drivers sleeping in their vehicles probably didn't feel too great. How did you sleep last night?
Oh man, what do you think? Where did the truck break down? Was it cold when things were okay?
A little. Even with the oxygen on, it's still hard to breathe.
It's a bit better. Otherwise, you just can't sleep. What are you doing? This spot is a bit slippery. It rained yesterday, and we had to use a truck to tow it. Oh, is this the one?
You can eat it. Oh, it's really fragrant. Once the loader was in position, we connected it to the transport truck with a steel cable. It felt like the loader barely used any force, just a slight pull, and it was out. Today, we set off from the Tangula Mountain Ice Station, preparing to cross the Tangula Mountain Pass at about 5,500 meters. The high altitude affects the power of the transport vehicles and poses a significant challenge for the personnel. The convoy heads toward the pass, but vehicles at the summit have not cleared the way, so progress is extremely slow. Go down? No, I can't. None of us can. I've given everything. Due to the high altitude, this friend's companion is suffering from severe altitude sickness. He asked the supervisors to let them descend first. In fact, it's not just them. Our own team members have already started using oxygen as well. Fleets head to the cloud. The traffic jam at this spot is because, up ahead at a curve, drivers from the opposite direction, who stopped to yield, misjudged the turning radius of the blades, and it took quite a bit of time for them to reverse and make way. Even though the oncoming vehicles had already backed up quite a bit, the turning angle was still insufficient. After several adjustments, the blade passed through the curve, brushing closely past the oncoming truck. After getting through the traffic jam, we headed toward the mountain pass. Once we passed the mountain pass, the convoy had to yield. Being able to reach this point smoothly was also thanks in large part to the drivers who had been waiting patiently behind us for so long. Each of the 6 wind blades found a straight section of road to start yielding. Once the convoy came to a complete stop, the stream of vehicles poured down like water gushing from a reservoir gate. There's no doubt about the beauty of National Highway 109, but hundreds of kilometers of subsided road require drivers to stay alert at all times. It's exhausting. Perhaps it's precisely this physical ordeal that makes the surprises along the journey even more memorable, etching them into the memories of these wanderers. The convoy got onto the expressway from Nok, finally free from the subsided road sections. Expressways in Tibet are toll-free and have no toll stations. The entrance areas are very spacious, so even 90-meter-long blades can smoothly navigate the curves. Once on the expressway, the escorts have much less to worry about, and the speed is also significantly faster. On the 21st day after crossing 3,800 kilometers through wind and rain, the convoy reached the assembly point. After the blades arrive, to move them to their installation positions, they are transferred onto a lifting transport vehicle, specialized for mountain road transport. For these 40 wind turbines, a special access road up the mountain was even built. The long-distance vehicles unload the blades and wait for them to be transferred onto the mountain lifting vehicles. The long-distance transport crew is already packing up their equipment. For them, the mission has been successfully completed. Now heading to the blade installation site to catch up with the blade being transported up the mountain, the road becomes steeper and the turns sharper along the way. I couldn't help but wonder how the blade could possibly make it up the mountain, but when I finally caught up with it, I found the answer. The mountain lifting vehicle adjusts the blade's longitudinal angle using hydraulics. There are counterweights behind the cab, and the engine inside the blue frame provides power to the hydraulic rods. By adjusting the angle of the blade, it can effectively avoid the mountainside and other obstacles. In the rainy season, the weather in the mountains is unpredictable. On muddy sections, loaders are used in tandem to assist with progress, and steep slopes also require loaders for towing. Human collaboration, when faced with mountains and rivers, seems especially reminiscent of some kind of burrowing insect, like thousands upon thousands carrying wings as they move through jungle paths. After crawling along at a snail's pace for half a day, the convoy finally made it to the mountaintop, having covered just about 10 kilometers of mountain road. In the future, 40 wind turbines will be built here. The units are specially developed by Dongfang Electric for high-altitude regions, and this is currently the largest wind power project in Tibet. The wind farm is only 140 kilometers from Mount Everest. Just catching a distant glimpse of it, I can say that I've been to Everest. When a wanderer grows weary of drifting from place to place, the longing for a distant home always lingers deep in the heart. After completing the mission, you can finally relax and enjoy the scenery along the way. They're throwing rice for me. Just chilling, just chilling. Wow, they're throwing rice for me.